Hey everyone. So I'm sure a lot of people are curious about why the Oscars may have felt a little different this year. I mean they had some good movies, and good movies and actors and actresses nominated in the roles that they were in. Um, but I looked online, and a lot of people felt like it felt a little weird. Like you get this reaction that it felt flat, that there was something off about it. Well, apparently the reason for this, and outlets here on YouTube like Clownfish TV, if you're watching, listening on YouTube, Clownfish TV, and others pointed out the reason. You see, apparently those that are more, I guess you could say, inclined to, to be part of this, you know, didn't vote. They backed out. They didn't vote. They didn't allow certain things to be nominated and all that. And what it did, excuse me, there. What it did is it opened the door for the smaller, more independent movies and more up and coming, not nearly established, but up and coming, talent to get the opportunity to walk away with an Oscar. Like for example, Zoe, for example, Zoe Saladana, who voiced um, the bird character, the captain character in My Little Pony the movie, the 2017 film. Zoe Saladina, Zoe Saladina, she won for Best Supporting Actress in Emily Perez, and that was kind of a shock and everything because she was, in a category with people like Ariana Grande and so on. And I know people look at that and they're like, well, Ariana Grande, why was she nominated as supporting actress? That she's a singer. There's no way, no way she should be in it. But she put on a good performance for Wicked, and Wicked was one of the films, one of the big films of the year, along with Dune 2, that was nominated in multiple categories. And there were some movies too that were nominated in multiple categories too. Like Alien Romulus, and so on. So you had a lot of these different films and stuff, and nominated, and like I said, different actors and actresses, producers and directors that were nominated this year, where it kind of felt like this is a little off. Like this is a different kind of Academy Awards. What's going on? And as I said, outlets like Clownfish TV on YouTube, if you're watching and listening on YouTube, and others pointed out it's due to the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, some of those that were going to, usually, or that not were going to, but are usually there and would have been there, they pulled out. And all thanks to the DEI situation or something like that. They pulled out due to the DEI situation, mostly because I think that's part of it. I think that's part of what the reason was, because some of the films that were nominated, like Emily Perez, they dealt with they dealt with certain topics and everything, and mostly the plot with Emily Perez is a former kingpin cartel goes through a gender transition from a man to a woman, and they want to escape, and everything. They call upon Zoe Saladina's character as a lawyer to help defend them, or something like that. And basically, that's what that in a way is kind of like one of the reasons. I think some people didn't want to be part of this or anything like that, because it's like that it's highlighting something to that extent. And I don't know if Wicked had anything to do with it as well, because the lead actress who plays the witch, or the one that's the girl that's going to be the witch and everything. I don't know if it's because she got nominated or something. I mean, I'll say this: at the beginning of the Oscars, her and Ariana Grande, they knocked it out of the park with their performance at the start. They knocked it out of the park, and there is no denying. There's no denying that. And what's interesting as far as they know, they are the only ones to perform, songs from a film that they were a part of. So that was really interesting. But what was even more interesting, though, is their songs didn't win. Neither of their songs won. Instead, it was it was a song that Zoe Saldana performed in Emily Perez that one, more of a kind of a hip hop cha cha like Latin song, and yeah, it was just one of those situations to where um, there was a lot of behind the scenes issues that people may people outlets like Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood, TMZ, Inside Edition, they may or may not talk about. But according to various reports, I think like through Variety and other places like comicbook.com, and so on, Deadline, they are mentioning things to the extent of, like I said, people that bowed out, didn't want to vote, didn't want to, nominate certain things and all that, were doing it all because of the DEI, the whole situation with that and other stuff as well. Um, and that's why basically this year's Oscars felt a little off. That's why you had 10 nominations, if you will, for Best Picture that, again, some of them were deserving, like The Brutalist, Dune 2, Complete Unknown, Wicked, and all that. Emily Perez, The Substance. That was a huge surprise to me. I'll say that because the way that movie is depicted and everything, you hear people talking about it. It's like, yeah, that's a weird film. That's a very low. It's got Demi Moore in it. Yeah, she does a great performance apparently. But it's one of those independent films to where you think someone like Demi Moore, who hasn't been in many major films in a while, you know, that's the kind of film that she would probably gravitate towards to at least keep relevant, and not fade into obscurity. But it got nominated in several categories. It won basically for special effects. I think special visual effects. I believe. Let me double check on that. I think it won for like special effects or something. Let me check. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia, make it a little easier for me and everything. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia here and look over the awards and everything for this year, if I can get to it. But yeah, I mean, out of all the years, and everything, that basically, out of all the years and all that the Academy Awards have been going on, this this has been one of those years that felt, like I said, just a little off, if you will, like a little different, like something was, something was not, I guess you could say. Let me see. I know it's got to be on here somewhere. Here we go. 2024. Well, not 2024. 2025. That's what I'm looking for. Here we go. 97. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. So, you have, like, for example, let's see. For example, you had. Let's see. I'm trying to find what a Substance won. I think it was Best Visual Effects, I believe. I think no, it was Best Makeup and Hairstyling. That's what it was, Best Makeup and Hairstyling for The Substance. So it won, and it won over, the likes of Emily Perez, Nosferatu, which was another notable one that got nominated, and Wicked, as well as A Different Man. But yeah, it won for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. And you would think, well, wait a minute, why didn't Wicked win? Why didn't why didn't Wicked win or Nosferatu? And well, if you look at how they really just went all out for, the makeup, the practical effects for the film. They didn't want to rely too much on CGI. You can't blame them for getting the win here. But again, it's one of those examples, though, when you look at it, you're like, well, wait a minute, why is a movie like Substance getting nominated for that? Why is it getting nominated? And again, like I said, it's just one of those years. It's just one of those years. I mean, for example, that's not the only one that got nominated for. I mean, here's some other movies that got nominated as well this year. That kind of tells you things are a little off. Like Alien Romulus was nominated for Best Visual Effects, Better Man was nominated for visual effects. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, obviously, big movie, nominated for visual effects. So was Wicked, but Dune won out, which was rightfully one of the rightful calls. Then costume design went to Wicked. Wicked won that one, and it beat A Complete Unknown, Concave, Gladiator 2, and Nosferatu. So that category right there, the best costume design, was probably the most, I guess you could say, more star-studded category in the Oscars this year because, again, there was just such a difference, if you will. There was like such a different feel. And I understand that one of the reasons why it felt different is because, as I said, some people pulled out. They didn't want to vote. They didn't want to put in certain nominations, for films or productions and all that. And, it definitely paved the way for the independent films, the more lower tier independent films that get distributed by independent distributors or even mega distributors to get the opportunity, to get the nod, to have a chance to walk out with an Academy Award. I mean, for example, you have Best Music. You have El Ma from Emily Perez that won, and it beat over The Journey from the 688, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Mi Camerano from also Emily Perez, Never Too Late from the Elton John Never Too Late documentary on Disney Plus. And that also tells you too that if you have have a movie that nominates 2 times, that either tells you that the music is good to the point that, like, let's say, hey, people are like, okay, the music's really good here, let's put that in there, or because of the fact that there has been that situation that's been, talked about, that's been talked about, that people have discussed and everything through all these different reports and articles, then it tells you that Camilo and El Mal, one of them probably wouldn't have gotten in had none of those situations behind the scenes occurred, And then you take a look at Best Music, Best Original Score. The Brutus won, and it beat over Concave, Emily Perez, Wicked, and Wild Robot. And outside of Emily Perez, this too itself looks like a very all-star film, like a field of nominees. Basically they're the kind of films you would expect, to be in, to be nominated on a yearly basis, if you will, at least be in contention. And then you take a look at animated feature, and this was decent in a way because you had, Flow, you had Inside Out 2, you had Memoir of the Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and Wild Robot, and you would think Wild Robot would win, but they went with Flow. And, obviously people would say, well, yeah, it's a beautiful film, but Wild Robot is the one that people really wanted to win. So obviously, again, there's reasons for stuff like this happening and such going on. But what really surprised people, though, was the one that won the most out of this. The one that won the most out of this, if you will, was Anora. Anora winning, overall. Because you had, like I said, Zoe Saldana winning supporting actress for Emily Perez. You had Kieran Culkin, who I think is Macaulay Culkin's brother, I believe. I think he's Macaulay Culkin's brother? Yeah, he is. He's Macaulay Culkin's brother. Kieran Culkin winning for Real Pain, and everything. And, basically, like, he was with a decent all-star cast, if you will, like with Edward Norton, Guy Pearce, Jeremy Strong, and Yura Balsavich. They did pretty well. They did pretty well, if you will, in that category. Again, that's a category that you would expect at the Oscars most of the time. But then you take a look at supporting Best Actress in a Supporting Role with Zoe Saldana won, and you have Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown. You have Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicia Jones for Brutalist, and Isabella Rossellini for Concave. And you look at that and you're like, okay, the more notable names out of that are Ariana and Zoe. both are, actresses and singers, right? And it's true. They're both actors and singers. There's no doubt about that. And Zoe won. And you think, well, again, why would they have Zoe in there? Why would they have Ariana in there? It should be for actresses. Well, again, it could be for anybody that that has a wide range of talent, and they do. But Zoe winning again, to me, just shows you of the situation going on. Because I think honestly, this is just my opinion. I think honestly, a lot of these people that got nominated and even won, they probably feel that they shouldn't have won or got nominated at all either, because they know that there are others that are on the outside looking in going like, why didn't we get a chance? Our movie was good. Our movie was good and everything. It's like, why didn't we get a chance? And again, it all has to, I think, relate to what happened behind the scenes. Again, I don't know too much about it, but according to the likes of Clownfish TV, from what they've reported and other places have reported, it's like, yeah, something, something concerning the DEI and some other stuff is what kind of caused this, Oscars, this Academy Awards this year to be a little different. A little bit like, yeah, it was good, but it was different. It didn't feel very Academy Awards, if you know what I mean. And I think also the fact that it just came out of nowhere. It just felt like it came out of nowhere, because instead of, because usually when they have this award ceremony, they usually wait till, like, let's say the second or third Sunday in March to do it, but yet they did it in the first Sunday in March, which was kind of strange. So again, that also, in my opinion, is what threw a lot of people off. Like, hey, something is not right here. Something's different, And then when you take a look at Best Actor and Best Actress, I mean, Adrian Brody winning for The Brutalist. Okay, he's a very notable name. He's done some good work. There's no doubt about that. But you look at who who he was going up against. He was going against Timothy Chalamet in A Complete Unknown, who portrayed Bob Dylan. Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. You had Ralph Fiennes for Concave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. And you're thinking, well, that's a decent lineup, right? Well, with the exception of, I would say, Ralph Fiennes and everything, Adrian Brody was the only notable name. Not saying that the others weren't good, but he was the only real notable name. And then you look at Best Actress in a leading role. You had Mikey Madison win for Honora, and, for her role as the title character, Honora. And she beat out Cynthia Erivo for Rickard, who played Etha, who played Elphaba Throp, Elphaba Throp. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but you had to beat out Cynthia's main character of the future Wicked Witch from Wicked. You had to beat out Carla Sophia Galson for Emily Perez, who played Emily Perez, but also Juan Mantis Del Monte. Basically, if you know what that movie's about, you kind of see what I'm saying. And then she beat out Demi Moore for The Substance as Elizabeth Sparkle, and then Frederick Torres for I'm Still Here. Now, again, Demi Moore, to me, is a great actress. Everybody knows her for her role, in Ghost. We know that. She's done some great stuff. She's done striptease and all that. So it's like, okay, why didn't she win? She's a more notable name. And I think it's because people will look at her movie as being a movie that shouldn't even have been in, the Academy Awards based on how it was portrayed. It's one of those movies that you look at and you say, like, in reality, it's one of those it's like one of those B movie, B independent horror movies, if you will. But again, for the Academy Awards this year, it's that kind of a year. It just felt, again, a little off, to the point that you have all these situations happening behind the scenes, from what reports are going around about, to where instead of having something else in there, instead of The Substance or some other movies that I mentioned to be nominated, instead of having like the bigger names, the bigger movies, instead of The Substance and, like I said, other movies, and it is late, I do apologize while I'm doing this, it's about 11:18 p.m. Pacific time. But instead of having like some other notable films, again, because of what's going on behind the scenes, they went with movies like The Substance, to be nominated. And then again, the biggest example of that, Best Directing. Best Directing also had The Substance nominated. You had The Brutalist nominated. You had A Complete Unknown, Emily Perez, and Anora, which won, got nominated. And then Best Picture, you had Anora, you had The Brutalist, you had Complete Unknown, Concave, Dune Part 2, which was a big one. You had, You had Emily Perez, you had I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, Wicked. And some of the notable ones there, Dune 2, Wicked, Complete Unknown, The Brutalist. And they lost to a film known as Unknown, as Anora, which was an independent film distributed by Film Nation and such. And at least that's what it is. It was distributed by Neon Pictures here in North America. Production company was Film Nation Entertainment and Curie Film, and it was distributed internationally by Universal Pictures and Focus Features. So it's one of those films that, again, you look at that and you say, you look at that and you see, like I said, you look at that and you're like, well, I've never heard of Neon Pictures or Neon Rated LLC, and that's the thing. It's according to Wikipedia here, it is a independent film production and distributor company founded in 2017. By people who it was founded in 2017 by CEO Tom Quinn and Tim League, who was also the co-founder of the Alamo Drafthouse cinema chain. So you look at that and you're thinking, well, normally they would hold that for something else, right? Yeah, they would, and you would think they would hold it for, a bigger movie and all that. That again, outside of Wicked and Complete Unknown and The Brutalist and Dune 2, that movies like The Substance and Concave. Well, Concave might have actually been in there too because it fits that category of Best Picture. But outside of Concave, Wicked, Dune 2, I should say, and Complete Unknown and The Brutalist, outside of those, movies like Anora, Emily Perez, and The Substance, and the other ones, they wouldn't have been nominated, if it wasn't for what happened behind the scenes. So if you're curious, basically, as to why the Academy Awards this year, this 97th edition of the Oscars, the Academy Awards felt a little different, a little off, and everything, not just because it came on a lot earlier than it normally would. Mainly it's because of the fact that from a behind-the-scenes situation, something occurred to where those that had majority votes or were due to majority voting basically did not participate, and because they did not participate, it caused some films to essentially, that would be nominated, not to be nominated. So that's basically what happened. That's basically what happened in the long run. I'm drinking some Coca-Cola. But yeah, that's basically what happened in the long run. Because of this whole situation with the DEI and some other stuff, like LGBTQ and whatever else happened behind the scenes, a lot of those notable people that would, participate in the voting for certain movies, to be nominated in certain categories like Best Picture, Best Actor, Actress, Supporting Actor, Actress, production, visual effects and all that, special effects, hairstyling, costume design and all that, score, song, you name it. The reason, them not being part of this, I should say, is the reason, again, the Academy Awards, the 97th edition, felt a little different than normal, and why it didn't feel very prestigious like it normally would, So that's basically how you would have to look at it from what's been reported and everything throughout the past couple of days and such. And I will link the video that Clownfish TV did on it here at the end, so you guys can check that out for yourself and see what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you felt like the Academy Awards were a little different this year, a little off, yeah, there's various reasons. Of course, what happened with Gene Hackman and everything, kind of, dampened it a little bit. But I think outside of that, had that tragically not happened, and everything. Um, it still basically feels like the Academy Awards would have been very less Academy Awardish, if you will, than normal because again, you know, because of the whole DEI situation and all that. So and the other things associated with it. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Let me know down below in the comment section. How do you feel about this? Do you feel that the Academy Awards didn't feel like themselves this year? If you did watch them, let me know in the comment section below. Super thanks will be open after the premiere of the video if you want to help donate there, guys. But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel. Also, do all the things in the description. Check out my content elsewhere on all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible from Amazon, Radio Public, Overcast. Anywhere there's a podcast, you will find mine there as well. Also, check me out at VENMO at BW Roses, Rumble.com at BW Roses, Odyssey.com at BW Roses.5. Also, check me out at Patreon.com at BW Roses. I will try to get some content up there. That will be exclusive for a while, so you guys can check that out down the line. Also, check me out at check out the Teespring store, I should say, for merchandise you can't get anywhere else. You can also find me on DeviantArt.com at BVW1979. You can also find me at inkbunny.net at BW Roses. And you can also follow me over at Twitter, aka x.com at BW Roses. You can also find me on Blue Sky at BW Roses. I will be posting links to my content there, so you can check, so you can click on it there and check it out. Also, you can find me at TikTok at BW Roses. Follow me there; it'd be greatly appreciated. But guys, give me your thoughts on this year's Oscars. How did you feel about it? Did it feel very underwhelming to you and very un-Academy Awards? Let me know. Until then, I am out.